Hello and welcome to another video from the Car Fun Mostly channel. This one I'm going to talk to you about the way I'm cleaning my Scalextric track. We had this down here in the living room for a little while a couple of weeks ago, and I found that some questionable continuity, and it's not new track. Some of it's 20 years old, some of it's a bit less, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare it properly for the next time I put it down. So it's been stashed in a pile of two pieces connected like that for a few months, and as you can see, hopefully there's quite a bit of dirt on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a damp microfiber towel like this. Don't worry about corrosion, causing any corrosion, because the amount of dampness in this cloth is so small that it'll be dry before we even finish. Give it a gentle wipe down any stubborn spots, little white specks like that. Clear them up a bit better, and that's the initial swish. And you can see fingerprints appearing on this now where it's drying. What I've got here is a piece of 600 grit wet and dry. It's pretty knackered, so it might be a bit more like 800 now, but 600 is fine even when it's fresh. And I'm going to doll up these rails a little bit. I don't know if you can see just where my index finger is. There's a patch of corrosion gunk. I don't really know exactly what it is. We're going to see what we can do with that. But what I do is I start and go along the rails with minimum overlap between the abrasive and the plastic track. Don't want to be abrading the track, just the rails, so I line it up pretty accurately on that edge. Going to focus on that dark spot a little more. Doesn't have to disappear. Certainly don't want to take the nickel off the rails, because the rails are steel with the nickel plating. Come all the way, focusing on the farther away rail like that. Do the same on this side, and I can see there's a certain grey surface finish that develops on Scalextric nickel plated rails over time. There's not a lot on here because I have done this process to this track before. It doesn't get used often, maybe once or twice a year in general. It tends to come out between Christmas and New Year sometimes, particularly if there's any new cars in the house. Spin the track around. Again, focus on the far rail. This makes your arm ache, trust me, particularly when you do many pieces in such quick succession. But the idea is to not spend too long on it, or not need to spend too long on it, and do it relatively often. I don't mean every time, I mean annually or biannually perhaps. Of course this is particularly relevant if your track's not a permanent track. So I've done the far rail, once this way around, spun the track and did the far rail again. I'm just going to finish off by generally picking up the middle of the rails, or both rails, because these two inside edges are quite important, particularly to a Scalextric car with a Scalextric round type guide blade, and I'll explain why. And that's because the braids aren't always best sat completely on top of the rail. Sometimes it's a good idea to move your braids go closer to the guide to try to pick up the inside edges. Now, having done that, I've caused a little bit of, obviously you get blackness on here, you get black fingertips, and a little bit of that blackness is either side of the rail, maybe only 3 or 4 millimeters. So now I'm going to take this really light, bright coloured microfiber towel and give the area around the rails, and the rails, in fact most of the track, anywhere where I think there's any debris, another good scrub. and I'll show you what we've produced. There, that's turned grey just from what we've done there. Next part of the process requires a flat blade screwdriver. Hopefully this one will focus. I think the tip's going to be 3.5 millimeters, 3 or 4 millimeters wide. And what I'm going to do next is insert it in the end of the rails like this, and I'm going to put it in about 10 millimeters and pull it like this. I'm going to do that in all four sockets, a socket being a female part of the rails. I'm not going to do it too hard, and I'm going to show you what that does to the rails and why that's desirable. Okay, there's a couple of good examples. Let's hope we can focus. So I've changed the shape of those sockets from completely square to slightly narrower as it goes down this edge. So once that's done all round, I'm doing that for a better contact on a better squeeze on the pin when the pin on the next track piece goes into there. So now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to pay attention to these 4 tabs, and the one with the socket is on that side. I hope you can see on the tip of my screwdriver. I'm just going to push that over and down, over and down, and what that does is it pulls the rail down hard against the track, stops it standing up proud. So we'll do all 4 of those. And then I'm going to check all the male pins. I'm going to wobble them in 2 directions, that way, and make sure that these pins are not wobbly. If they are wobbly, and these are not, then the solution for that is to bend those tabs down, the ones that wrap the pins with your screwdriver tip. Once that's done, take another track piece that you've already prepared, lay them flat, push them together, and as you do, you'll feel increased friction, more than normal, at these rail joints. There you go. Perfect continuity. I'll put this on the pile, ready for when I assemble the track in a little while. Get on to the next one. Now the production rate is that I've done a dozen of those in about the last hour, so it's not a fast process. When the track's all assembled on the ground, I'm going to take some alcohol. This is what's this called? Surgical spirit, although that's actually just a nickname for isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to take this clean corner of the cloth, I'm going to wet it, and I'm going to go quickly all the way around the track, on the rails and overlapping the rails. And what that will do is give a final clean, electrically conductive, improving clean to the rails. And I don't know whether you can see, hopefully you can, I've brought some more, a little bit more dirt off those 4 rails. Like I say, I'm going to do this on my knees on the floor with all the track laid down. I'm just going to go all the way around the lap like that, giving it a final clean. And if your track has got that grey or silver top surface, you don't need to knock it all off. You don't have to worry too much about the joints here where the rails angle down, because those are low areas anyway. But if you very gently drag your finger across the rails as a before and after this whole process, you will notice that there's a significant improvement in smoothness And what that will do is it will reduce the drag between your braids and your track, and it will maintain a longer braid life on the car. It'll reduce the sparking between the braids and the rails. Of course, the sparking is what burns the braids away, so you'll have longer braid life, and in general you'll have better acceleration and better braking from the cars, because brakes need conductivity from the rails just as much as acceleration does. And all in all, the whole thing will be a much more pleasurable experience, because you've got good electrical continuity, good power all the track with less jumpers, and good longevity from your track. Nice clean surface so that your tyres stay cleaner for longer. And it's all in all, it's just a good. Now, if you've liked the video, like the video. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I appreciate that very much. It helps the channel to grow and get presented to more viewers. Thanks for watching, and join me again in the future for another one.